Oh shit. We love fun, mate.
um, okay, so all right, we're all good. Sweet. Now, yeah, so I took a sell on German US 500 as well in the New York session, and it was a similar setup to actually what the German did, and that's where I was kind of looking at this playbook was that we had this drop, and then we had like a little brief consolidation, and then we had a little drop. And remember, I was saying like if price comes up, if it closes above this little like where it dropped and then consolidated near this Asia low, and then it dropped down again, that if it came back up to this level, that's where if it broke like if it tested it and then broke above again, then uh, it would be pretty bad though you're holding cells. But it just came up and it touched it, rejected it, and then it just continued down. So I was thinking the same idea for US 500. And then on US 500, price at New York Stock Exchange, it was much slower. But what we had here was a pretty nice little drop, this candle. Okay, so pretty clean candle, price pushed down, and it broke underneath the like the London low and this like this little New York open bit, and then it consolidated for a bunch, and then I thought, well, this is the consolidation then. So this whole zone, I'll treat it as liquidity. And where I was looking to target was, I'll show you my target, but I set a pen in order here. At the top, I put the stop loss just above the daily highs, and where I was targeting was I was targeting this zone here. So it's a bit of a shame. My target was just a little bit too far away, but decent risk reward. I think my stop was a bit higher. It wasn't 2 to 1. It was something like this. Um, and then price. The management side of things was price came up and it tapped into it, and it took it like it wasn't a clean rejection. Like it did bounce around a bit, and I was like, "Ooh, that's not like maybe this is not not too good." But I thought, oh, I'll just stick with it. We've got divergence. We've got the stockies overbought. Um, we're at the supply level, and then price pushed down. First target where I took some profits off the table was just at the lows. So at that point down here, where it was I had a partial take profit set, and it was more or less 1 to 1 when I took some, and then I thought, where was it? Where did I have it? There you go. I thought that when this wick happened, this wick happened. I'm not sure actually what caused that. I think there was some White House speaker at the time, and then as price was pushing down, I thought, beauty, where this one should be another one in the bag. Move my stops to break even, and then it just rallied, man. Just took me out, took my runner. So pretty annoying because if I went for the opening gap, it would have been sweet. But um, I went for this little bit. I thought it would fill that gap. So that was a shame. Other price action on US 30 was also very similar. I knew I should. Yeah, man, I knew I should have gone US 30. Oh no, sorry, no. I was targeting here. Yeah, no. Because US 30 and US 500 are the similar price action that this one it sort of dropped down and then it consolidated and then it started pushing down again. And then I thought, well, if price comes up and it just tags this area, then I'll look to do the same thing. I'll look to short that down to that little demand area down over here. Yeah, exact same trade basically. Anyway, they were they were the ideas yesterday. Now going on today, we're at the first of the month, so we've got a new like this monthly candle for German. Oh, look at that! Actually, closes a little bit of a doji. So there's a second line of thought here why German can be so bullish. One is, hey Tom, remember we were saying like how Europe is spending so much cash right now on their stimulus package, like especially Germany, 500 billion over, and then I think it's a trillion over the next however many years, 4 years or something. They've also, what we've got is Trump just recently got NATO to agree to spending in all the NATO countries to spend 5% of the GDP on defense. So that's also going to provide a boost. What's also providing the boost, and it's two lines of thinking. One, remember we were saying like how a strong euro could hurt German 40, because any businesses, remember we were talking about yesterday about the car companies, and then how the car companies were in the top 10, like we're talking, they were in the top 11 anyway. So Volkswagen, Mercedes, and BMW, they were, I think, 7, 8, and 11 at one stage in the top 10 of the German 40 companies. Now they've dropped out of the top 10. So I can't remember the exact positioning, but they're definitely outside the 10 that we looked at yesterday. And it's because so many cars are bought overseas outside of Europe. But then when they bought in the overseas currency, and then all that money's got to go back to BMW headquarters and Mercedes headquarters. But then when it translates from like US dollars or Aussie dollars or pounds, when it converts into euros, the strong euro is actually means they're less profitable. So it hurts the company's earnings. But there's another line to that thinking, that with the US dollar being so weak over this last 6 months, did you guys see the stat on how US dollars hit a 3-year low, and it's been the weakest start, or the worst first half of the year? Anyone see in how long? Hey Nell, how are you? Hey Simon, welcome buddy. Yeah, 1973. Nice one, Michael. So 50 years, 52 years. It's been the worst first 6 months of the year in 52 years. So if you're an overseas investor, like just as when we were speaking about like how a lot of my passive investing is in just like ETFs. I just buy the world market. So I buy a bit, it's more weighted to the US stocks. So one of the ones I buy is the Vanguard VGS, and then I also buy the BGBL, this one here. It's the same ETFs, just smaller, it's a slower fees. Anyway, they're all based on world, like the mega cap companies in the world. Now, if you're a US investor, you would be looking at Europe thinking Europe is spending a lot. And if European stocks are going to go higher because of all this spending, and also at the same time, my US dollar is going down. So if German 40, so if you're an overseas investor, say you're a US investor, and you're looking at German 40 gain for this year so far, this is the 12-month candles. So German 40 has, when it opened for the year, is up 21%, okay, or 20%. So not from low to high, but from where the year opened to where we currently are, just the body of the candle is up 20%. Now, at the same time, if we look at Euro US, and we look at this, we can see Euro has also appreciated against the US dollar 13%. So if you were a US investor, we know the US has the most money in the world. If you were a US investor and you invested in German 40, you don't only make 20% from German 40 going up. You also make another. If you decided to bring back those euros, convert those German 40 into profits, it's got to go to euros, then it's got to go to US dollars. So you also would be up 13, we'll just call it 13% on EU exchange. So you can see how there's like a huge drive for US investors to actually also invest in Europe here, because you could be sitting on 33% gains for this year to date. So pretty crazy returns. Now, if the US starts strengthening, with all this happening, with German 40 going so well for the year and Euro going so well for the year, what this will do is this will bring pent up demand for US investors, so that if we start to see US dollar start to strengthen, or we see any signs of sort of trouble in Europe, and we start to see maybe we're about to see a slowdown in the German 20% year to date. It's pretty impressive. What this could do is lead to a rush for money coming back home. So we just need to keep our eyes out that with gains like this, we can see some pretty extreme profit taking as well. So some pretty violent pullbacks, probably just pullbacks. I don't think that's going to be a crash is not on my bingo card, but with all that pent up demand, there is a real case that we could see some profit taking if we get some exogenous event that comes out, something that we don't know that's coming already, but that could lead to German 40 giving back some gains if we see US dollar also strengthening. Okay, so I think that was it's a pretty interesting line of thought there. I was always thinking about the company earnings side, but I didn't actually think from the US investing side. Okay, so anyway, let's focus on German 40.
Very impressive dialogue.
Yeah, so at least as I've explained some of this growth, some of these gains, and why German 40 has just been an absolute tear. Like, very, very impressive run. Very impressive run. Okay, so this is the area I thought, look, this might be the low of the week, especially if the data coming out the rest of the week, if we get some continuing weaker US data, so JOLTS job openings today, tomorrow we've got ADP non-farm, and on Thursday we've got the non-farm, the NFP. So there's ADP non-farm employment and this non-farm employment. One's from the ADP, which is automatic data processing. So they process tax receipts. So it's arguably more accurate, but no one cares for some reason. And then you've got this other one, which is from the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So this is just a survey, but a lot of people drop the L and call it the BS NFP, the bullshit NFP, because it is a survey. And
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, but for some reason this one holds more market impact, even though ADP is arguably more accurate. But we just got, as traders, we just got to focus on the ones that the market cares about. The market cares about this one. So if we see signs and they're looking like, I mean, lately what they do is they exceed expectations, but then a month later they cut they downgrade the results. But again, no one, for some reason, the market doesn't care about downgrades. They just look at what the actual comes out as. So if this continues to show US weakness, then we could see this indeed just be the low of the week, and we could see money flow back into Europe again. So anyway, we've got 30 seconds before the start. The zones that I've still got were valid. Like, this is still that demand area. So I'm going to see if we get some sort of reversal patterns from around here. We've already got lower highs forming, but we haven't taken out this structure. But where do you guys reckon we go? Do you reckon we go down? Do you reckon we go up from the start?
I think we've still got a bit more downside to come home.
Yeah, this area, now that we actually got down here, I'm actually looking at this zone as well. See what it gets. But this is a really nice area, so I really could see this be a base. So I'm not going to rush anything. So here's the open now. We'll look at the 1 minute candles.
And
we've got 17 pips for the first minute so far. A little bit overbought on the stocky. Looks like it's just going to, nice powerful open here. So I think buys are going to be the play. Sort of retested that weekly level as well, didn't we? Look at this weekly level. Was it weekly or monthly? Monthly level it was. I don't know. No, I got confused because black is normally my weekly or monthly level, but it was that daily level as well. Remember, I was saying this one, we got a bit of support across here, that kind of pushed through it, but then again, daily support. Yeah, so we tested that level again to the pip. Now we're pushing up. I think it's, yeah, just let the first 15, 20 minutes go. But I do think there's a very good case that this is the low of the week. So from an hour point of view, I'm just going to move this because it's been used. So we've got this bit of structure here. Got fairly clean push above that. We've got this structure down here. So yeah, so I'm just not sure whether we thought that we'd have a sell-off yesterday because of the zones that we had, and because the other reason was at least Thursday closed up at the highs of the day. Friday was pushing up, had a little bit of a stumble with some Trump tweets, which then got reversed, but we still closed up near the highs of the day. So there wasn't much profit taking last week. And then price had come down on, so London wouldn't want to commit to buys with so many people in profit from the week before. So they let that fall. Then price had been, it's just whether this was enough of an accumulation for price to continue going higher. We created a little bit of divergence. No, we didn't, not on this time frame. But I'm just wondering whether this was enough for them to get in. So we've still got this area, which is going to potentially cause us problems. And if it can break through this area, though, I do have this zone. I do have this zone as something that I would like to see how price reacts at that level. But Stocky did get oversold. Stocky was oversold. At that level. So Germany actually sold into the German stocks, German open was down. London's just opened and it's just absorbing some of that liquidity. This is the Frankfurt, this taking the Frankfurt high open now. Still got the Frankfurt low. So do we think London is going to want to take Asia low and Frankfurt low? Do you guys have any zones that I'm missing? Still hanging around that VWAP for the day. The VWAP is the center line. And then we've got the first, second, and third standard deviations to either side. So price is kind of just still stuck. I think this is accumulating. So whether they're going to want to do a liquidity grab, yeah, man, it's hard to know where they're going to go just right now. So best to be, if in doubt, just stay out. Wait, we'll get it. It's still very early days. Hey Mike, how are the stocks open? SAP up 1%. Cars down. Rhine Metal down. It's a bit mixed though. Yeah, the scene must be mixed. So 37 pips in the first 5 minutes. So probably about par. And we'll see how the VIX opens, but the VIX stayed under 20, so we're kind of expecting about, I mean, the Asia session was a bit more volatile. Like 90 pips is fairly decent in the Asia session. Is there anyone in any trades right now? Holding DAX shorts. Slimer's not in anything. Yeah, I'm not in anything. Just being patient here. Patience will make us A-okay. So Tom saying MMG is at 24,000. Yeah. Oh, okay. Around the Asia high. Let's check to see if there's any headlines. So Bank of England, Gov Bailey. He wasn't scheduled to talk, so this must be Wall Street. Not Wall Street. Must be like The Guardian or some newspaper that's running a story. So this is old news. All right, yeah, pretty tame open. Yeah, ugly range, isn't it? Just sideways here. So we'll be right. We'll find something. Just gotta wait it out. So see this little push down. I guess it's the little price action that where the market, this one here, this is like we consolidated for a lot of the time, and then we had this no wick candle, the one that finally pushed down, broke out of this area, and then down she went. So that no wick candle, that lines up with Asia high. So we just need to try work out what are how are they going to get the best move from here. So when you think of institutions and retail, it's not so much like, obviously one of the traps is retail thinking like retail, because it's very easy to think that if we trade a certain way, that's how everyone will trade because we use certain size. But that's not the case for institutions that use far bigger orders. And then the trap is thinking that it's retail versus institutional, but it's really not like that. You got to think that we kind of just get caught in the ceasefire. That's in the crossfire. In the ceasefire, we get caught in the crossfire that it's institution versus institutions. So it's kind of like if you're in the jungle or in Africa, and you've got lions, tigers, leopards, crocodiles, that you've got all these like,
Been there and done that.
yeah, you got all these top predators that are kind of just looking for any opportunity. And if you're a London trader, for example, and you're thinking, well, I'm on some good intel here, and I'm going to put a big buy order in, and you're thinking, and if London have got that good intel, and they're thinking at market open, I'm going to put a buy in at 23,950, for example, a big one. But if you've got like another predator that's holding a buy position from lower, and they think that London is going to get in here, they could use London as exit liquidity, or they can make the market drop as they're getting in, or they can even pump it up as London are trying to get in, trying to piggyback off their momentum. So you got to think London traders, institutional traders, are all very careful of other institutions, because other institutions are looking at these guys as their prey also to get out of a trade, or trying to see if they've got some good intel and piggyback off their ideas. And if you've got a great idea and you're thinking, hey, fantastic opportunity here to buy German 40, you don't want to give that away. You want to sit on that information pretty quietly and accumulate a position, or spread misinformation and be like, oh man, German 40 sucks. Things are going down. You should sell. But if you want to sell, I'll buy it off you. So if they push price down, they can actually get some weaker hands to be like, oh, wait, we're coming down. I'm in profits. I want to preserve my profits. I'll close my trade. And then that's how they'll slowly be accumulating their position. Okay, so we're seeing London push up, take out the Frankfurt high. Now it's dropping. We've broken through this level. We'll get into this Asia low bit. Now Asia, anyone that was holding longs that executed in Asia will be thinking, if they're still holding that trade, they're thinking we're actually in drawdown now. So do we really want to hold this trade? Hong Kong was closed today. Okay. So this could be, if we start seeing like this is now putting a lot of pressure, Asia will be liquidating for sure at this point. If they're not convinced on their idea, having this happen, Asia will be thinking we're in drawdown now. Like if they're still holding, they'll be selling their positions. So London could be snapping that up. We've also got a little bit of structure across here to the left. And then we've also got some zones underneath here. So what we want to work out is the pressure going to keep on driving lower? Is there a clear target to the downside? And to me, I don't think there's a clear target to the downside. So what I'm actually thinking is if we can start to form some sort of divergence underneath Asia low, underneath in these areas, then I do think there's a good opportunity to trade it back up. Yeah, the only thing that's bothering me is the structure here in New York session. It was very, it was just not clean at all. Like it's kind of it's actually quite difficult to identify. Like this is the rejection here, and then it's already got tested once, but late in the day before it pushed higher. So it's not like it's a fresh level. Because we do have this zone underneath here, which is actually definitely it's already got tested once yesterday, but this is actually quite a nice area of demand. But I think I'd feel more comfortable if price can actually build a base here. If we can build a base, start having some divergence, and then start actually failing to go lower and start breaking higher, then I think we can find a scalp to correct some of this move down. It's nice that we actually had, like, we're about 90 pips now on London session, and we did have a pretty clean candle here. So we've got a drop. Let's just see if we can get a bit of an accumulation here. So what happened yesterday was a drop, base, and then eventually dropped again. And then maybe today, maybe it does the same thing. Maybe it does a drop, a base, and then a drop. Or if this is actually the low of the week, or close to the low of the week, we could do a drop, base, and then we could do rally back up. And that's kind of what I'm thinking, is to do the drop, base, and then rally. So we might hold here for, I mean, we could stay here for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We could just go sideways, or we can continue pushing down. Because there are some targets. We've still got New York low down here. Just depends if they're trying to accumulate a position inside of here. Because this low, pretty decent little rejection wick here. And it's likely the way that price came down for euro low and then bounced, and then now we've got a lovely clean candle that pushed down through this area. It's very likely that there will at least be a retest of this black line.
So you might take a short of that black line?
No, I'm actually, because of the higher time frame, I'm thinking that this was going to be the low of the week. So I'm actually looking to see if I can trade it back up. I'm not in anything just yet, but I'm kind of just seeing if we get, now that we've taken out Asia low and we're into some of these lows of New York session yesterday, I'm waiting to see if we can actually form some like we're oversold in the stocky. And if I'm bullish, then I want to target oversold on the stocky. But if we get some divergence underneath here, then that could actually lead into my plan that we've got a drop, we base, and then I'm actually thinking I mean, maybe I'm actually, like, there's no confirmation that this is the low. And at the moment, I'll be treating it as if it's just a counter trend trade. But if we can't, maybe it does start to build that base, and it can turn into a day trade. But I'm just thinking at the moment that this is just going to be a counter trend. I'm thinking that this is the time that I'll just remove risk from the trade once it hits this black line. What'll suck is if if it just accumulates here, like we push down 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, and now we're kind of basing ourselves. What it does next is kind of gives me the next piece of information that I need. If it just pushes up from here and retests that black line, then it's just didn't give me a chance to get in because that accumulation was just too short in time. But kind of looking to see that if we can, yeah, man, there'll always be another trade. So I'm not like obviously I want to catch the trade, but it looks like it's just going to retest this area now. It just wasn't long enough an accumulation for me to want to buy it from here. We kind of got the divergence, but it was just too quick for me to actually think, because like we kind of got equal lows and we were kind of grinding up, but yeah, to me it's just not strong enough of a reason to take a trade just yet. Even though it could work out, it could push up and retest, and then I'll be like, oh cool, my analysis was correct, but it actually hasn't given me an entry yet. Not something I'm comfortable taking like 1% or 2, or a percent risk on. So just playing the waiting game still. But yeah, if it can create some divergence here, because remember, one type of order that institutions do is that because of their size, they can't just execute their whole position so what they need to do is if they entered the size that they want in one go, it would very quickly just overwhelm any buyers or sellers that are in the market currently. So they split the order down into something called like an iceberg lettuce trade, where they've got like an iceberg lettuce, how it's got layers and layers and layers and layers. So they just split that one big position into many positions, so it doesn't actually doesn't cause too much of a ripple, because as soon as they create that ripple in the market, that's when other institutions will think, oh, like what's happening here? Why is there a buy position coming in of a decent size? It's not by human traders either. It can just trigger like computer trading algorithms like CTAs. Then it's like there's so many participants in this market, so it's they just got to be careful, and we've got to be careful too, because we don't want to get on the wrong side. So the 1 minute on the stocky, so we had that drop. 1 minute on the stocky's actually come back up now to overbought. So we'll see if this was just accumulation before now make another leg down. If it's just this kind of like V-shaped recovery or U-shaped recovery, then there's just nothing. There was nothing in there for me just yet. But so we're just gathering data at the moment before we execute our position. Anyone got any ideas, trade ideas materialized after this price action? Any points of interest? Any plans?
I'm flat.
You're flat, yeah. Is this in a zone people are interested in, or is it still no man's land? Tom, you want to go lower? Rob, you got nothing yet. Yes, to me it's still no man's land. But accumulating here, we've got to think, why is it accumulating here? So that's in on itself, that's a piece of information. Simon, no man's land, looking for another leg down. Yeah, so you're looking for drop, base, drop. I think that's if it does that, if it does drop, because this is institutional positioning here. You see how fast it was, and then if it bases and then it drops, what we've got a lovely piece of information then is this consolidation this is and the same with legged down lower. This is a very nice information then, because it's either going to create diversions, it's either going to give you trend structure to continue, or if got a rejection area, that if that rejection area fails, there's a very good chance then we can fill some of these clean candles. So this is like, I think another trap for trading is that you think that you've got enough information here to take a trade, but sometimes there's not enough information here, but then you start creating a plan anyway, because the habit is to trade every day. But what it causes us then is to come up with an idea that we're going to execute on, and we force the trade. And then when you look back on it later in the day and you think, oh, it was actually so clear, it's just because the price action that would give you an idea just hasn't formed yet. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's about just waiting for it and then thinking, all right, well, what if I actually just waited another 20 minutes, whatever the price action is, and then I said, okay, well, what's the attack then? Now I've got more information of what London did. Now potentially it could be like the plan just stands out a lot clearer, just knowing that it's not necessarily, this is not everything that we might not have enough information yet to make an idea. A lot of the time we do, but not every day we do, right? So that's why sometimes it's when we start the streams later, like tomorrow, when I can't even look at the charts before 8, and then by the time we get to like closer to 9, which is a lot easier to wait till 9 o'clock when you start later than it is when you start at 7:30, wait until 9. That's when you start at 9, sometimes just the road is so much clearer. So see how this was just indeed a little pullback, and now we are broken the high. So this will be very interesting if this is the accumulation, and that this is the inducement to trigger people sells, thinking it's going back down again. And then if we actually start pushing back up into this area, we could, this is actually decent price action for a drop base, induce more sellers to come in, but then break out the top and then correct this whole move and end up doing something like this. And it just does that complete recovery. So this is something also that's very interesting to see what happens here. Now we actually do as well have divergence to the downside. So you got divergence there. It's a bit clearer now. And if this actually was the low, and we've got clean candles above, and we are induced little rejection candle, 1 minute. But if we can be breaking out the top, then yeah, man, it could just London could have just done a sell to buy. It's just not perfectly at a zone that I would say normally, like to the left here, this is just not normally an area that I'll be thinking, this is a beauty. So I do prefer to trade like the clearer hour zones. This hour candle's looking pretty aggressive, but you know, we've seen times when it looks like this on the hour, and then you get towards the end of the hour, and this thing is looking like a big rejection from the downside. If I zoom out though, look at the bigger picture. I mean, we do have a sensitive zone across here. Like if we have a look, all across here is a lot of rejections. But it's just not entirely clear yet whether, well, where's the VWAP now? Have we actually hit the VWAP? That could be it. Give us a clue. Oh, we're at the third VWAP. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning back. I'm kind of leaning towards this being a base, sorry, a drop base rally. It's probably still too early to trade though, but I'm just getting prepared. All right, what happened here? 8:30 came along. So that 30-minute candle just, that 1 minute just drove up 13 pips. What's going on? Timing's right on 8:30. Sus. Possibly. Possibly. These little fast move, like these, because that was like, if I show you the 5-second chart, you can see like that was a pretty, okay, we'll look at 10-second chart. You can see like that's the biggest candle since, that's the biggest candle we've got so far. That 10-second candle. So that's the biggest 10 seconds of this London Open. So is that a buy position put in?
That yellow zone that you've drawn up, it's got 4-hour liquidity from that news candle, that candle that formed on the speech last night.
This
The 10 to 7. You go look in New York, you can see that spike news candle.
Yeah.
The base of that is 4-hour liquidity. It's an inside bar that formed.
Yeah.
I think it's right on your yellow zone.
Yeah, okay.
Beneath.
I think we could be going up.
Just don't like the way the last 10 minute closed.
Come on, push. So if we can close out of this area, come on. Yeah, so this is the way that it pretty aggressively pushed up. If it's breaking underneath here, then I think there's some easy downside. Otherwise, if this support can hold, we don't really want it to. Yeah, if this support if this support can hold and then it's breaking above here again, then I'd look for that. But if it breaks that low, then that just invalidates this. Yeah, no, invalidates it. So. Yeah. So we've got, at the moment, it's looking like drop, base, and now it's looking like it's proceeding to drop. But we'll see if it can actually continue to breaking out. At the moment, I've got nothing. I do like the zone. I do like how it's slowing here. I do like I do like how we're getting diversions, and I do like how if we do take out this VWAP, third standard deviation, and then breaking higher, we're seeing how decent those trades are to go back to the VWAP line. But it's still no man's land at the moment. I don't love the area that it's at for this. All right, so we've got the inside candle as well from yesterday. Oh, look at that, man. Yeah, just be patient. Be patient. We're still only 30 minutes into the open. Okay, what's at a more decent level now? And we've got New York low liquidity. And we've stayed, like the momentum's to the downside definitely because we're seeing the stocky stay oversold for so long. So that drop base rally idea, we never broke out back above the highs. And now it's confirmed that we've got drop base drop, which is cool. Because the further it can drop down into a decent area, I mean, unless you're looking for sells. If you're looking for sells, well done. But I wasn't looking for sells. But now prices actually get into a level I'm actually getting much more intrigued to be able to take a buy from.
You've dropped 116 pips as well, hey?
Yeah, so that's getting to a decent limit for that London Open.
Yep.
So I think the move, like yesterday's move, was that this was liquidity. And that price eventually came back up and it retested here. Remember on that Euro CPI news, the German CPI news?
Yep.
So I'm still thinking like this area here is kind of no trade range for me. But if it tested this high and then broke above it again, then I could actually get around buying back above this area. Or if it can push deeper into it, it's getting closer then to eventually there will be, like, London are definitely selling, but there could just be that sort of relief rally. So I'm still just, I prefer to buy for some reason today, so I'm not really looking for a sell opportunity. Let's just invert the chart, because remember that trick. Let's see how much further. Given, so because we did have all of last week, where basically they sold, like, those. I know it can be confusing because this chart's inverted, but basically, like, they did have buyers that just held all to the close of the day. Then we rallied, had a little pullback, sort of rallied, had a deeper pullback, accumulated a bigger position. So this is the main buying areas from here, and then they held all the way into the close of the day. Then they held all the way into the close of the day. So really, this is only a fairly shallow pullback at the moment, but definitely is structure at this level. So if the trend is going to continue, then I think that this is a pretty appropriate level to see some sort of accumulation or some sort of manipulation. I think that would make a lot of sense. And then if it's breaking underneath, like if it's breaking above here, then for sure all-time highs again. No, not all-time highs, but the top of this area. So yeah, man, I think that's, I'm really keen for that, actually. Just to see if this is the area that London sold down into, accumulate position, and then we can push back up. If it's breaking underneath this area, then that wasn't my base case, and I have to reevaluate. But I'm looking to try position myself in for a buy. Just initially get into a trade, get my risk out, leave a runner. Hey, Nell, are you still holding that sell? You were holding it down to, what, 600, weren't you? That was what you're looking for? Still holding, very nice. Friday's London low. Okay, but remember, patient, guys. Patience. And we do have a triple wick area here. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is, I think if we can, me personally, if I can get a closure back above here, something like that, then I'm going to look for a buy back up, just to the VWAP, which is sitting, yeah, about there. I want to see price have a good close here. Otherwise, I don't want to trade against this momentum. So So new monthly flows. We don't know the price action can be a bit weird on the first couple of days of the month. And also, if they really want to flush any early buys out, first low, second low, third low, we can just have this grind down actually quite a bit more. What's this? Just the Euro CPI at 10 o'clock. Oh, Italian manufacturing. No, that won't have nothing on this. But if it's an indication of a trend in the final PMI stats, yeah, maybe. I think this is just at the moment still part of the profit taking cycle from last week. So we're just after such a strong week, like we're just at the moment, yeah, the momentum's clearly to the downside for this week so far. So it's nice sells yesterday. So like this price action at the moment still doesn't really give me, like, it's kind of ugly down here. But we'll get to the bottom area of this. We're back into this demand area. Now let's see. We've moved down quite a bit now. It's a shame not to catch the sells. Well done if you did catch the sells, but I mean, even better if you stayed out entirely and didn't get induced into flipping your bias. Or if you didn't have a bias, well done to being patient. You know, that's the best thing. Okay. So we're getting a little bit of a push here. So I'm thinking at these lows, I think of going like a low risk, reasonable stop loss. But I'm actually thinking I'm getting close to a buy here, just because the stocky's just been oversold for so long, and we're down at these levels. I do think we can get that little relief rally, even if it just retests this Asia low. See if we can get something like this 5-minute candle at the moment is looking promising. Now it's kind of like rejected these lows, just to see how it closes in 40 seconds. If it closes bearish, then yeah, it's kind of a bit depressing. But if it closed, at one stage it was looking bullish. I just want signs that maybe the sellers are starting to exit a little bit, or buyers are actually starting to come in. Oh, see if actually closed bullish. This last few seconds. So let's see. So potentially, if this is the support, if this is the first sign that buyers stepped in, then let's see if we get some manipulation. Like this, I'm going to let this one close. I'm not going to touch it yet. I'm going to see if this is a fractal low. Because if this is then a fractal low at that demand area again, with liquidity sitting above, got fair value gaps, we've got an area up here that price could retest. So I think there's potentially a good opportunity that if this causes a fractal low, and the next candle can sort of push into these wick areas, I'll have a decent stop loss, because then if it's breaking it, I'll just exit. I won't take too much risk on it. The other thing as well, if this 5-minute candle closes like so, then what I've got on these two 5-minute candles would be a range. And then to me, I'll just be looking to see which way it breaks out of, if it goes down or goes up. But let this one sort of sit tight. Let's see if it makes a fractal low. And if it closes bullish, I'll just jump in for a buy. Man, slow. Oh, we've got some news. I've got news in 2 minutes. It's on Forex Factory. Okay, cool. We've got so German unemployment rate, unemployment change, manufacturing PMI. So, oh look, in a minute we might get some volatility here. Yeah, let's just wait for this news to come out. So about 10 seconds, then we'll have the unemployment rate. I didn't even know this was on. Forex Factory is a bit shit, you know, to be honest, lately. Very slow to get news to you. All right, so all good numbers. 6.3, as in they thought it was 6.4. All right. Oh, is it yellow folder? That's why. Stupid me. Sorry. Didn't have yellow folder on. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, Forex Factory. Still, it's been a bit shit lately. Really slow to like get you the like the forecast if they're going to cut rates or not. So 5-minute candle looks like a manipulation. Got a fractal low here, and then this 5-minute candle actually closed quite strong back into this little area of supply. So is this the low? That's the thing. We're oversold. We've been hitting the VWAP, and I'd love to see it just correct back up to the VWAP line. But at the moment it's just making like there's a lot more fractal highs coming down. We've got one fractal low, so I want to see if this can hold. If this can hold, create that kind of base, which is at a decent higher time frame level, then then we can actually look for more upside. But at the moment, still a bit too bearish for me just to go long as a cowboy, and it wasn't my base case to go to short. Is anyone in anything yet apart from the shorts you're already holding?
I'm flat.
Still flat. Yeah, this has been a patient day so far. To go what if long? Come on, man. Just move. This is what happens when you got price in like no man's land. Hey, feel like the price action is just, man, it can be a grind. Okay, come on, push. It's got to retest here, at least. It's got to retest this. I want to see what it does here. So now, same thing. That to me, now that's kind of retested here. I'm very interested to see if this was the low now. So I want it to come down. I want it to pull back. I want it to pull back, and I want to see if we can trade back above this zone for the break. So for it to push up and then correct this whole move. A riskier trade would be entering here for a buy. So I don't want to do that. Not against this momentum. But we've got overbought on the stocky. We're at this previous area, which was the top of that accumulation. Did anyone short that? You shorted there? Yeah, okay. I was going to say that would have been that was the same as what happened yesterday. That short from there would have been okay. Yeah, but this now, even though I didn't execute on those shorts. Oh man, maybe I can jump in. Yeah. I'm gonna go short. So, gone short. I've got two ideas here. One short, I jumped in. I'm looking for it to target now here, the bottom of this bit. And then if it does, eventually at some stage, closing back above this line here, this is another valid trade. If it closes above this triple top, then what I'll do is I'm going to take a long to the London high. So two ideas here. First, we've rejected the supply. Price is pushing down. Looking for it to break this low now, continue lower. I'll secure this soon. But I'm looking for it to break underneath here and go to the bottom of this demand area. This is the information we needed to see whether it was going to respect this or not. And then if it's bouncing from here, I'll secure soon. We're about 10 pips up. Like, it was a nice little move down. If it gets to this low, what I'll do is I'll just take a little bit off the table and I'll tighten my stop, so make it a break-even trade at worst. And if it does do some sort of rejection, if it's trading back above this triple top area, I'm going to take it all the way to London high and beyond. But had to wait a fair bit. I wish I got in a little bit higher. But I wasn't looking for shorts, but that rejection from there is basically what happened yesterday. So now it's now I've got at least a bit of more information now. So this was same as this move. What it did here is that we had that little accumulation, and then this wick came up, retested it, came back down, sort of bounced around a bit, but once it broke through, it made a few legs lower. So I'm just looking for that to be the exact same thing as what happened yesterday. But it's a very dangerous area for me to hold shorts, naked shorts. So as soon as it takes this low, there we go. Very good. So I'm gonna. It's not quite. It's not. I know it's not 1-to-1. If I can hold it, just gonna make it a little bit lower. Oh, there we go. Yeah, secure. Oh, very nice. Oh, I don't need to secure anything. No, I'll secure. All right, got 1-to-1. Stops now. I'll just leave it at break even. See if it can continue pushing down. And then the idea for longs is just wait. Can be super patient on this. Which eventually, if it breaks this resistance, after having pushed down into this nice little demand area, then with these clean candles, a second touch, I don't think that will hold. I think it will go straight to the London high. But beautiful. This sucked having to sit through this. But see what I mean? there's many times that there's just the information we have is not enough to form a plan, but having a rejection of that area that and pushing down quite deep, that's a pretty decent reaction. Now it's likely to break that low, especially where we weren't at a decent level. Okay, so yeah, sitting about 30 odd pips now, which is pretty. I mean, only in a few minutes as well. So took over an hour and a bit of waiting, all for a trade to give you 30 pips in like 3-4 minutes. But man, what a slog! Yeah, man, it wasn't an easy day. I mean, maybe easy if you sold just initially, but it wasn't an easy day waiting for this price action to develop. Did you guys get in for the sell? Was it too quick? Or did that rejection convince you that we're going lower?
I jumped on.
You good man.
No, I missed it, Hayden.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like that. That wasn't easy. Wasn't easy, and you needed that's when you needed to have like magic keys or something to be able to set it up very quickly.
I'm thinking the other way now too. I wasn't really looking for sales, I was looking for buys now.
Yeah. I was preferring buys, but I just didn't like the zone we're at. It was like it just wasn't this area to the left just wasn't very clean. But now that we've taken New York low, and now we're starting to push into these depths of this demand area, now it actually is much more interesting for a long. That's why I think that. So I think if we're breaking back above here again, then it's coming for the London high. Because if London is pushing this down, and then they need to bring it back home, then it's very likely that the profit taking can just reverse this whole move. And this was just a sell to buy.
If we can get above that original consolidation, it's 10 candles back up the top.
Yeah, like I mean, at least the VWAP as well. The amount of times we make these lower highs, like eventually people are going to be looking at this as well, and they'll be thinking, I've missed everything. I was looking for longs. Oh, F it. I'm just going to sell now. And you'll sell the low. You'll literally sell the very tippy low of it. Sometimes you do it, and it's like, oh, it's not in case of sells, but for buys, have you ever, like, I'll invert the chart. Have you ever been in that where you've like, oh, F this, I'm going to take a buy, and it puts your buy with the spread up here, and price like this goes down, and you're like, you bastard, like I literally bought like the highest point I could have.
Done it hundreds of times.
Oh, I know. So sometimes I look at that and I'm like, Jesus, like how could the time have been any worse? It's very rare for me to get a trade. Say, for example, say price just comes down now. It's actually pretty rare for me to have bought that very low and got out at that very high. Like the perfect trade in essence. It's very rare to actually get the perfect entry, perfect exit. But there's been many times on the inverse where I've somehow sold that low and then closed it at that high, and then prices come down. Like I've had almost the perfect loss, but I very rarely will have the perfect win.
Most of us will be in that boat.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens. It's so strange how that happens. But there was one that was there was one just recently actually, but it was a perfect win, but it was purely just a pending order. It just happened to have literally got the low and literally have caught it took the high for the pending order. I'll uninvert this again. But like, I mean, yesterday just ground down all day, so there's definitely you know, there's definitely some profit taking happening here, but I'd be pretty surprised if, I mean, whenever it happens, whether it happens today or tomorrow or next week, this is still a very valid idea that when you've got a resistance like so and clean candles, like this idea is going to be sound for whenever that happens. So if it doesn't happen today, just keep it on your charts, because that's definitely a very, very, very strong possibility of a trade at whenever it happens at the time. Because how many times do we go back to the left and then look for these like areas where we've got support, 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 and then clean candles? You know, like that's exactly what we'd be looking for. So this is a trade that we can set it up now, knowing that in the future this is a trade idea. Just got to have it on your charts. I think tariff concerns are weighing in again. Yeah, that's actually true. I had that thought last night. The 90-day pause is July 9, so I'm absolutely, so that's when it ends. So I'm not surprised that as they're going to extend it, most likely. I think they said they're going to extend to Labor Day, whenever that is, like early August. So they'll give like another 30 odd days or so. But they probably won't say anything in the days leading up. So there'll be a lot of, the news will shift. The news will be, last week was ceasefire hopes, peace in the Middle East, some trade tariff deals seemingly be announced. And then now this week, what it'll do is just to create people to let go of some of the buys. The news will pivot, and now it'll be, the next news will be, July 9 coming up. Are there going to be 90 deals in 90 days, picking holes in the policy? And then that will also then just bring the market down. And it's just that breathing in, breathing out cycle. Look, we're about to hit target. That did. Yeah, I'm not actually gonna leave a runner. I'm actually gonna just close the entire thing, because it wasn't my base case to take sells.
I'm flat.
You're flat. Yeah. I mean, I could leave 10%, I suppose, just to see, but no, I just hit my TP. I just let it hit my TP. Yeah, so I've closed out now full. That was good though. It was 60 pips. All that waiting for 60 pips. And all it took was the same price action as yesterday. Just a bit slower, yeah. It did the drop, it based, it came back up, rejected it, and then basically there's almost an exact carbon copy of yesterday. It's a slightly different shape, but that it didn't get the top, but it sort of rejected, and when it was looking like a rejection, like, yeah, it was almost the exact same. So if I go back to yesterday, because the trade yesterday was, so this is the pattern.
It's almost identical.
Yeah, it almost is like this is the consolidation.
Yep.
Kept on going down lower, and the entry, yeah, that was the rejection, and then the trade, like after the rejection, I got in like there,
yeah,
just to go down, wherever it was. But saw the rejection at that level, drop, base, retest, rejected, got in, made a new low, took partials, runner stopped out, runner closed out, and then today, bloody the exact same thing. It was just a little bit slower, but drop, base, retest, rejection, enter, broke the low, and then took profit. So okay, well, anyway, not an easy day, but I mean, in hindsight, it's easy. But it wasn't easy when you sort of sat here waiting.
Yeah, we're all experts after the fact, don't we?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like sometimes it's just when it seems like it's not easy, it's because the price action isn't there. And then when you look back and you think, oh, it's easy, it's because now you see the price action and you've seen
Yes.
that the actual the things that you'd look at to formulate a trade idea and now appear, but it wasn't obvious back at London Open, was it? But then once we
No.
saw this, I mean, well done, Michael. You had that idea to enter on the retest up here. It was only when price was rejecting so low that I was like, oh man, it's just going to break that low then and continue down. Anyway, yeah, man, I was trying to hunt buys, but couldn't find them. So I'm gonna go, guys. I've got to. Man, Maddie's been. I had to like she's made these tantrums, man. Between 18 months to 24 months, did you find your kids like have these hour-long tantrums where they just go ballistic? I actually thought like this is not normal. I was like, should I take her to the hospital? She's just apparently can't regulate her emotions at this age.
Yeah, it's normal.
I don't remember specific ages, but I know they talk about the terrible twos, and there's a good reason for it.
Yeah, man. I look at her. She's
The
like
trouble is Hayden's abnormal.
she's just like when she was going mental, and then when she just sort of after an hour when she calmed down, I'm like, it's just a completely different person.
Worn out all that emotional energy, and she's exhausted.
Yeah, exhausted the parents as well.
Yeah. Oh well, that's just part of the choice of having
I was
kids.
thinking, I knew I should have sold her before when she was cute and like well behaved. Probably got a good price. Now who's going to buy?
Wait till she's 16 or 17. So you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now's the easy bit, Hayden.
My Maddie's going to be 21 next month.
Gosh.
13 to 17, you've got all that fun to come yet.
Yeah. That was the worst bit when Maddie
Yep,
was about,
100%.
oh,
Yeah.
when she was during lockdown. So when was that? Five years ago. She was a B1 TCH. Is all I can say.
Yeah, hopefully you can get her like invested into some sort of sport that keeps her attention.
Oh, she was awful. I went up to her bedroom the day we went into lockdown, and I said, "What are you doing?" And she went, "What's it look like? I'm piercing my ears." So she's literally got a pin and piercing her ears. And I went,
Serious?
Are you having a laugh? I said, have you seen what's going on in the world? You can't even go out. You can't go to hospital. You get an infection and you're sitting there putting needles through your ears.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, they come out of it the other side at some point.
Yeah.
It does depend on the child though, because not all of mine were like that.
All right, guys. I'm gonna have to get Maddie to nursery anyway. So well done for those that got the cells. I guess the main thing is, did the idea make sense? I guess that's it needs to be repeatable. Yeah, like did it make sense? The ideas, the waiting, and then eventually, once we actually got that rejection, it just had to have quick fingers, but it made sense. Yeah, it was just. Is there any questions about it?
No, all good by mine.
I stayed flat.
You stay flat.
I'm still not feeling 100%, so I stayed flat.
Yeah, okay. Alrighty. Well, thanks guys for being here. Yeah, the idea of not rushing and waiting for enough data to tell us what to do. Yeah, man. Sometimes it's just waiting and waiting and waiting. And eventually you see it and you're like, oh, okay, well now it's makes more sense. Okay. All right.
Okay, mate. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.
See you
tomorrow
later.
morning.
Yeah, I'm done, Hayden. I'm back to work
Oh, yeah,
tomorrow.
okay. Bummer. Okay, mate. Well, I'll see you when you're back. Everyone else,
Yeah, no.
trade safe. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye bye.
Thanks,
Take
Hayden.
care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.